I don't think they're going to give the Jags too much of a challenge this week, Tank. And the Jags have outscored their opponents 95-59 during this 3-game winning stretch. Do you see that continuing in Houston, or do the Texans maybe have a little something rolling right now in terms of momentum after beating the Titans?
Well, look, the Texans played Dallas close, and it took a miracle for them to pull off that victory at the end in Jerry World. Then they played the Kansas City Chiefs, who we will all agree is one of the better teams
Yeah.
in the NFL. They played them close. It took them to overtime. And so then you think like, oh, okay, like the Titans need to win this game. They're at home in order to try to,
Mm-hmm.
stay ahead of the AFC South. And then the Texans go into Nashville and get a dub against the Titans. And so am I
They
willing to
were
bet against
trailing
the
in the fourth
Texans
quarter of that
now?
game too.
Right?
That was
Yeah.
And
impressive.
so am I willing to bet against the Texans playing at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars team who's been playing better as of late, but as we've said a number of occasions throughout the year that there's a lot of parity in the NFL and each team could get beat on any given Sunday. And then you combine that with these two teams being divisional rivalries as well, like this is probably a stay away from me, just giving those little nuggets. Like for some reason, Pep Hamilton, I give him a lot of credit because Brandon Cooks hasn't played a lot. They've been injured all along at wide receiver. I mean, their star running back, Damian Pierce, he's on IR. Yet the Texans are playing better ball now on offense and in defense than we've seen in any part of the season. And I think even though it's pretty dumb of them, like right now they have their pick of the number one quarterback in the draft. Yet still they want to somehow, some way end the season on a positive note and try to rack up all these wins. No,
Yeah.
make sure you come up with the like somehow, some way, you need the tank and make sure you get the damn first pick in the draft. But that being said, I like the job that Lovey is doing, that they bought in, at least in these final games. And so, yeah, Texas need to lose, but for some reason they're not doing what they need to do. So from that standpoint, I'm staying away.
Yeah, this game is going to be really interesting too, Jared. I know we talked about it this morning on Let's Bet It. For the Jags, it doesn't matter if they win, if they lose, if they tie.
True.
They could still have a chance to win the AFC South because it all comes down to week 18 where the Jags take on the Titans. Do you think this is a spot where maybe the Jags could rest a couple of guys and not really worry about how they perform in a game like this?
Yeah, I think that might be the case. So the initial line movement here was off of Houston. It was from 5.5 down to 4. And now we've
Mm-hmm.
seen a little bit of buyback on Jacksonville. It's back up to 5 at Superbook. It's 4.5, most market wide sources. I I don't know what Lovie Smith is selling, but they're buying it. They are. I mean, the scenario with that Titans game, Tennessee had a 4-point lead in the fourth quarter with Derrick Henry running it
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
Houston's throat in their territory. Fumble, touchdown, interception, field goal. I mean, it was like I was getting ready to cash my ticket. Derrick Henry running downhill with a lead in the fourth quarter against the Texans team with nothing to play for. And somehow Houston won that game. Killed my best
Mm-hmm.
bet of the week. But I give a lot of credit to the Texans. Honestly, I mean, there's really nothing else to say other than they wanted that game more than Tennessee did,
Mhm.
and they made the plays late that got them that game. I think they'll still get the number one pick regardless because I don't know if they're going to win this game, but I think they are in it, and I think the uncertainty with Jacksonville's roster, like Tank. Before I get further into the handicap, if you were in this scenario and this game meant absolutely nothing to you and your overall team goals. The Jaguars can get
Literally.
blown out in this game by 100 points. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is beating the Titans next week. What would you want your coach? How would you want your coach to approach this game? Would you want to just backups, vanilla game plan, or is momentum a thing and you want to keep it rolling heading into next week?
I say it all the time, and I believe it's true. Momentum is a hell of a drug. But there is one caveat. If there are some guys on your team who would benefit from an extra week of rest, you make sure they
Yeah.
get that rest. You make sure that they go
Yeah.
into the game against the Titans, the one that matters, as close to 100% as possible. But if you have guys that feel fine, they're not banged up, and they can play, then you try to go ahead and get your guys in there, secure that
Sure.
dub, continue to build on the momentum that you have late in the season, get this win against the Texans, dominate the
Yeah.
Titans, and then you go off into the playoffs hot, and then you have a chance of doing something similar to what Cincinnati did last year.
Hmm. There's a
This is going to
couple
be
of things
interesting.
then to that end. Hold on. Let me just get a couple more points in here, LJ, before we move on.
Yeah, of course.
There's a couple more things to that end because the Jaguars offense this year, first of all, Trevor Lawrence has taken the leap. Turnover worthy plays down, adjusted accuracy, big time percentage, all up year over year. Doug Peterson's done wonders for him. That's not a surprise. The reason I think they've had so much success this year is because Ingram, Jones, and Kirk, those three have combined to only miss one game all year. They've played in every single game this season. And after 15 weeks, my guess is they're probably pretty gassed. Now, they have had a long break. They played last Thursday. They had the mini bye. So I think there's some conflicting, like originally this week, I was like, man, the Texans are such a good spot as a home dog. But now that I'm kind of talking my way through it with you fine gents and ladies, I don't know if Jacksonville is going to have the same approach that in my mind I thought of 2 days ago. Like maybe they do subscribe to the notion of, hey, we're on a long break here. Let's just keep this thing rolling. So, yeah, I think the Texans +5 is probably a decent bet based off where the market should be. But you're kind of asking for Jacksonville to throw in the white towel here. And I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think that's going to be the case, but I am not 100% sure that is going to be the case.